Dream a little dream of me. Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get time to film this at all, and so I'm just going to do a short flip through of my bullet journal setup for next year. I've gone with a black journal for 2020 and I'll just show you inside. So here is my word of the year spread. I am still hoping to get on and do a live kind of chat really about word of the year and trying to help people to find their words. It's a practice that I find so helpful. So I like my very first page in my journal to be this word of the year spread. And my word of the year has evolved again since I last talked about it. I did think it was going to be native, and it is still very much connected with native. Gosh, look at my hands. I haven't even got my rings. I'm just about to go to bed as I'm filming this. I've been moving furniture all day, but I wanted to kind of show you this before I went to bed. So excuse that I haven't got, I'm not all dolled up. So native, I thought, well, originally I thought indigenous and then native, and what it's actually evolved into is kind, which obviously has that kind of native meaning to it, as in like of a kind, kindred, kin, that kind of root, but it also has that healing gentleness to it as well. So I dreamed it and I woke up knowing that that was actually my word, so that hence my very opening spread in my journal. And I stick it right straight on to the opening cover, so it's before you even get to the index or anything. I'm using a Leuchtturm 1917 journal. It's a medium dot grid. I'll try and remember to link things down below. Nearly all of these images are from old wee moons, mainly a couple of things from Earth Pathways, stuff like that. I've done a video the last couple of years now, flipping through some of the diaries that I use to provide inspiration and fodder for this kind of collage thing. And then with the words, I just typed them out on my computer and just played with the fonts and stuff to make lots of different fonts, and then spent ages cutting them out and individually gluing them all in. So, and that is the result, and I'm really happy with it actually. It just has turned out really well. So yeah, it's cool. I wanted like lots of faces because I really do feel like finding the others, and it's going to be a stretch for me because I would quite like to be, my natural kindred is more trees than people. So I'm going to aim to be kind to myself, but also find the others this year. So that is that. And then my next spread is my cards for 2020. I use the spread that I usually use for this, and which is available as a PDF. You can download it for free from my website. It's basically like a card for each month of the year, and then cards for the kind of overall focus. I did change it up slightly. I've got a goddess, a rune, an animal, a stone, and a plant this time in the center for my kind of overall focus of the year. And then I've just made some notes of each of the different things that came out, of things that I'm going to be kind of looking at each month, what's kind of jumped out of me now. And as I get to each month, I'll reflect back on this, and I will also take new cards for each month, and I can kind of see how those cards fit in with these original cards that I choose. So this obviously isn't the most, this is just a photograph of the spread. You know, this is not a pretty spread. It's got my gross handwriting all over it, but it's a very functional spread. So that is in the second page before we've even got to kind of the dot grid. And then this, if you buy a Leuchtturm, they have these already in contents pages. So I have just done nothing to that. I've just left it as is. And then this is the last kind of proper page before, it's kind of like the 4 pages. What are they called? Gosh, it's gone from my head, the sort of term for those 4 pages. This technically should be the first page of the journal. So I've done my kind of 2020 title page here, and my key about the symbols and things I've used, and the key that I use, and my bullet points and things like that, what they mean as I go through. You know, I know this stuff, but I kind of like how it looks, how it sets out. I use some stickers and some washi and things like that. I love this washi. I've used this quite a lot in this setup. And then I haven't finished this page yet. Let me shut that flap to kind of show you. That's why my strings are in there, because I'm still working on this page. And I'm going to have to do it tomorrow now because I'm tired. I need to go to bed. My brain is fried for this now. But this kind of double page spread is Astrology for 2020. I've taken the sky map out of the wee moon, which I love because it doesn't show all the planets, it doesn't show Mars and Venus, but it shows that they're more slower moving planets, all of the others basically. And obviously not the sun and moon, because they'd be going around the whole thing. You know, they'd have to have spiral upon spiral for the moon. So it shows the movement of the planets basically, and so you can get an overall view over the entire year. So I find that really useful. A nice little bit of information here. Then these two things, this is the eclipses for the year, which is out of the Astrocal Moon Diary, and the retrograde table, which is also out of the Astrocal Moon Diary, so you can see at a glance the where the retrogrades are. I find this serves me better than like kind of including loads of ephemeris and stuff. You can kind of see it at a glance here, although I have written in the Mars and Venus transits for the year as well, so I can see what is going on with it. I'm especially going to be working with Mars in 2020. I feel like I need that kind of drive in my life, and so it's a planet that I have kind of shied away from in recent years, well, since my kind of teenage and early 20 years really. So I'm going to aim to be working more with Mars this year, and Mars is in Aries for like the second half of the year. It's in Aries, you know, going direct, then retrograde, then direct. So it is in Aries for a long time, from June the 28th all the way until January of 2021, you know, so the whole second half of the year basically it is in Aries. So that's going to be interesting energy to work with. Back here I have my natal chart, and then I've got a little section here where I should say my natal chart I print off astro.com, so you can print your natal chart off there. I've just chosen to kind of grayscale it because I prefer how that looks. And then this little empty section here is going to be where I write the kind of significant dates and things that are happening this year. Like in January we've got loads of stuff going on. We've got the Saturn and Pluto conjunction, which is going to be a big deal. Or not Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto conjunction, which is going to be a really big deal. So that is going to go here. There's also, like I said, the Mars retrograde. There's lots of things going on which I will make a note of there. So that is my kind of 2020 astrology. I find it really useful to have this, you know. It's great using the Astrocal because there's obviously loads more information in here. There's also loads more information in the wee moon, but I don't carry these around with me all the time, whereas I have my journal with me all the time, so I can look things up if I need to and just check dates and times. I also do use apps on my phone as well, which I'll probably talk about a little bit as part of my astrology series. If you don't, as I think sometimes people see these pages though and they think I need to include astrology pages. If you don't know anything about astrology and you're not kind of planning on learning it, then you don't need, you know, this would be too much information for people who aren't familiar with astrology. As you kind of get more and more familiar, this information becomes useful, whereas before that is not useful at all. So don't feel like you have to include this or any of the spreads I'm showing. I just wanted to show what I was doing because people have been asking me, and I didn't want to let people down, you know, so I wanted to show you what I've done so far. So now I have the 2020 Lunar Phases, and this I have taken directly out of the back of the wee moon. It's really cool because it literally shows every day you can see what phase the moon is in and what sign the moon is in. It has the times for when it moves, you know, for the full and the new moon. Does it have a new moon times? Yeah, but the new moons aren't in, they're in Eastern Standard Time, but because it's the wee moon. But they don't have anything like this in the Astrocal that I could pull out and kind of, you know, I think that looks pretty. I've also marked on there my personal lunar returns, which is when the moon goes back to the same place in the zodiac as it was when I was born, and I'm going to be working more with that this year, so I wanted to include those as well. So yeah, so you know, that's very basic. I just literally coloured in behind, stuck a bit of washi and stuff on. It's nothing fancy, but I think it looks kind of cool, and it will be really useful, because that's my like, it has to be useful, otherwise what's the point? It's nice when it looks nice, but being useful is the main thing. And then I have my blood moon tracker, which is pretty much the same as I do it every year. So I find this format works well, and this is just kind of like a little decorational collage, which I felt went well with the blood moon kind of theme. So it's a period tracker, basically. I do put the full and new moons on there because I do like to see how I'm syncing up or not with the cycles, but you know, that it doesn't have to be complicated at all. It's literally just a tracker. I know some people prefer to do that on their phones and things, but I like to kind of see it more the whole year to go, so that's why I like to have that in here. And then this page I think is gross. My lettering, I haven't done a lot of lettering lately, and yeah, it's not looking too great, but it's fine. A reading log, so literally I'll just be noting down, and I've also got a page for video ideas, which I can note things down. I'm probably not going to be making anywhere near as many videos in 2020, so we'll see, although I have got lots of ideas of things I want to make, and I've obviously got series on the go, like the astrology series, like the red tent series, that I want to be carrying on with as well, so we'll see how that goes. And then just a really simple double page of truths, which is quote pages basically. So when I'm reading, I'll have somewhere to note things down, because I tend to kind of scatter those around and then I can't easily find them to refer back to them. So I'm going to, like, these pages get filled pretty quickly, and then I can just set up a new double page spread like that to carry on collecting like that. And then exactly the same format, same washi, just a different color at the top. I've got my must-do list for 2020, so that's gonna be things that I have to do in 2020. I'm gonna try and keep that nice and short. And then I've got a might-do list, which will probably be longer because it's things that I might do this year. And that is it for the front of the journal. I'm gonna start my January setup here, but I'm not gonna do that tonight now. I'm gonna do that probably tomorrow, or even on New Year's Eve perhaps. But I have done a couple of things in the back. I stuck in, I know some people write this all out, and you can obviously do that if you want to. If you don't want to use any kind of collage stuff in your journal, you can write it out. I do like to have a kind of overview of the whole year, mainly just to know what day, you know, like when people say, oh, on this date, and I can check and see the day that is and know whether that's going to work for like appointments and things like that. So this is just out of the wee moon, and I just stuck it in with a little bit of washi, so you know, you can't get more simple than that. I haven't done anything here. I'm not sure if I will. I might just leave that. And then I've got my future log, which is where I note down things that are coming up. So I haven't started with January because I'm going to be doing the January setup, so anything that is happening in January I can actually put straight into my calendar for January. So I've got February, March, April, May in bigger boxes because they're the next months that are coming up. I'm more likely to have more things I need to note down in those boxes. And then for the rest of the month of the year and for 2021, I've just made small boxes. I may not need these, you know, hardly at all, because I will likely, well, I always go through at least 2 journals a year. Some years I go through 3 or 4 journals. So I'll end up having to do this kind of page again, but it's handy because like sometimes you do have long range things you need to note down. And I like to have it at the back rather than at the front because it just seems to make sense to me for some reason, because it's stuff that's like happening in the future. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. And then I've got another might do list, but this is a more long range might do list, as in might do not soon. So potentially in 2021 or beyond, or perhaps later on this year, but not something that I feel like I want to note down on my might do list at the beginning. And I found this gorgeous poem out of the wee moon, I think last year or maybe even the year before's wee moon, that is wonderful. I love it. It says, so hold on me, something freaking brilliant is about to emerge. And I thought that was just a nice compliment to the might do list there. So, and yeah, that's it. There is nothing else in here yet. All the rest of this gorgeous emptiness will be filled as I go through the year. I've already got some crap on the front of the... I don't know how people keep them so beautiful. Mine are always like, you know, this is my last one and it is just like battered. But, you know, it is what it is. So there is my quick little flip through. I won't be doing a plan with me for January, I don't think, because I'm just not going to get a chance to film it. Well, if I wait until I've got a chance to film it and edit it and everything as well, I'm not going to have it set up ready, and I really want to have it set up ready to actually start the new year. So maybe I'll show that afterwards or something. I'm thinking of going with like a kind of healthy apple theme for January. So if I get a chance to share, or I might share on my Instagram, you can go and follow me over there if you want to, which is @TheStoryWitch on Instagram. Although I'm a little bit sporadic with posting on there. I think maybe even in 2020 I might even be less on social media. We will see. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you so much for watching. I need to go to bed. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.